Hello, uh, this is Paul Rutherford with ScanPower. Really excited to show you some changes that we've made recently to publish a ScanPower add-on for Google Sheets. We've had some scripts associated with a Google Sheet that we shared with a few of our customers and got some great feedback on that. And we've taken that and gone ahead and published an add-on on the Workspace marketplace. So Google Workspace is kind of equivalent to Microsoft Office. So in addition to Google Sheets, you get Docs and a drive for storing files and larger assets. But we find Google Sheets really useful, and we know that a lot of the customers of ours that do online arbitrage or wholesale use Google Sheets to manage some of those buys, track when an item is purchased and when it eventually ships and gets sent to FBA. And because we are known for and spend a lot of time helping you send shipments to FBA by listing items, from a buy list. So what other software sometimes refers to as unlisted inventory, basically purchases you've made that track the details of where it was made, who bought it, what date it was purchased on, and what quantity and how much you paid for it. So Google Sheets turns out to be a really nice way of managing that. So I've got a sheet set up here that has some sample buys in it. Mine is organized pretty simply and includes columns that you would need if you wanted to import it into ScanPower's buy list, ASIN, cost. This one is called import-msku. So when you purchase something and add it to the buy list, you can tell us what SKU you want to use. This is optional. And then other columns: price, purchase date, quantity. Put the shopper, the person who sourced the item, the supplier, or what we call source. And then if it's a grocery or consumable good, you can put the expiration date. And then we have a condition column that's also required, but you can just default this. Most of you, I think this will be new. And then finally, a column for notes. So if you have notes for your prepper, for instance, let's polybag this, or notes for the lister, check rank, similar things like that. You can put those in the notes column. So I'll talk a little bit more about this sheet in a minute, but where you should start is in the ScanPower HelpDesk, help.scanpower.com. This is under Batch and List Solutions, or Frequently Asked Questions. It's called Manage and Import OA and Wholesale Buys with ScanPower Google Sheets Add-on. So this is just a quick introduction to the add-on, how to find it, what columns it uses, and instructions for installing and using. So we'll just go through that here in this test sheet I've got. So if you click on Extensions, Add-ons, Get Add-ons, you'll be taken to the Google Workspace Marketplace. You can search for ScanPower, and you should see our add-on here with some screenshots and description. When you click Install, you give us permission to, you have to tell it which account you want to install it under. So I'm going to use this test account. And then the permissions that we actually use are: we will edit and view your Google Sheets. These are not very granular permissions, so we don't create or delete any Google Sheets, and we only interact with the ones that you tell us to. And then we connect to our external API, and then we bring in some web content to show you in some other menus. So those are only 3 of these permissions that we actually use. We've contacted Google and told them to remove the Google Docs and Google Drive since we don't actually use those scopes. So you click Allow, and then it may tell you that the app is unverified because of those extra permissions. So you just click the details of that and tell them that you trust ScanPower and you want to continue. And then you'll see the extension shows up, or I'm sorry, the add-on shows up under your extensions as ScanPower, and the top menu item is to import Buylist information, and then there's some other menu items here. For example, how to use links to video content, but primarily this is for importing Buylist information. So we'll cover that today. So back to the spreadsheet. If you grab this ScanPower Buylist import template from the bottom of the help solution and load that into Google Sheets, it'll look very similar to this. In cells A2 and B2, I've entered my email address and password for ScanPower, and then these two values will be defaulted. So, and the columns on row 6 will be here, and then you can fill in your own data. So the things to know when using the add-on are you can have as many columns as you like. So you can have all the information that you need to track your buys in the spreadsheet. It's just that we require ASIN, cost. You can leave this blank, but we require these columns in bold: cost, import, MSKU, price, purchase, quantity, source, expires, and conditions. Obviously, we'd love it if you want to attribute a buy to, say you have a VA or an employee that's doing buys for you. You can put them under the shopper category. They just need to be a sub-user in your ScanPower account. And then obviously notes we've mentioned before, but it's pretty useful. So the way that the add-on works is you select the data, the rows for the information you want to import, leaving the column headers on row 6. So from row 7 and down, you can import selectively. You can import 1 row, you can import 3 rows, you can import 100 rows. And when you import these, they'll show up as a ScanPower Buylist item, which can then be immediately put into a shipment, sent to FBA, and tracked through the whole process, through the order and through the COGS. So once it's in ScanPower in a Buylist, you can do all the things that you would normally do with it, but just having the ability to track it in the spreadsheet and easily import it, we think is pretty useful. So here I'm going to demonstrate importing 1 row. So I just click Import Buylist. It's going to log me into ScanPower using our API. And in this case, I put the wrong shopper in. I don't actually have a shopper named Bud, so it's prompting me to enter the correct shopper. So I'm going to say this is Raul and update that. And then the buy list posted, we get the confirmation here that's just some of the details of the buy list, and you click OK. And then once it has been imported, you'll see the ASIN turn to green. So we know we've already sent that in. We can keep it in the sheet. We can continue to track other details about this buy, whether it's been received, whether it's been shipped, all the things that you might normally do. But we know that that buy list has been imported. So this was an Under Armour men's shirt. If we go to the buy list for this account, there it is with all the details, including the shopper and the notes. So really straightforward, hopefully really useful to you. I do want to mention for the purchase dates, if you make the mistake of not giving us a time, it's not terrible, but because we're 5-6 hours behind universal time, if you simply put 1/15/2022 and then upload this item to the buy list, this will come across as midnight. I'm sorry, this will come across, yes, as midnight on 1/15 in local time, which means it will switch to the next day in UTC, which is how things are stored in our database. So you want to be careful of that. I'll just show you how that can happen. So I'm going to upload this. In this case, I don't have a shopper, so it's just going to save the buy list, and we should see a Timbuktu travel backpack here. And again, this shows up at 12 a.m. So if, for example, this was listed from a different time zone, this might flip the date. So just be careful. We advise to go ahead and enter the time that the item was sourced in the purchase date, and that'll get carried through the buy list successfully. And again, we know that 2 of the 3 have been uploaded or imported. So really excited about this. We're going to be building out more functionality, more ways that Google Sheets can interact with ScanPower, but we think this is a good start and useful for people doing OA or wholesale. Let us know what you think. Thanks.